Welcome to Ukraine Updates on the Shills YouTube channel, the place where Russian propaganda gets wrecked, fascists get roasted, and freedom gets the last word. I'm Slavi, and hopefully your week's been better than the US government's moral compass. Things are so bad with freedom in the United States that 11 democratic countries issued a travel advisory, not for Russia, for America. Meanwhile, Trump thinks he's negotiating world peace, but he's just beta testing the art of no deal. With Putin on speed dial and Elon Musk running point, hiring teenagers at Doge who allegedly deleted war crimes data. They claim to have uncovered fraud everywhere, except in the mass abduction of children. War criminals get covered, and truth tellers get defunded. That's not justice failing, that's democracy in free fall. Thanks for being here. Let's say hello to our panel. Hi, Dick. How's it going?
Very good. Excellent. Well done. That was awesome. There's so much going on in the world. I don't even, you know what I mean? Let's give somebody else a turn because I'm already flustered.
Yeah, we have Claire from Car4Ukraine. Hi, how are you doing?
You're muted.
Classic. You're muted, Claire. I mean, we can imagine what you were saying, and it was probably quite beautiful.
Yeah.
And very, very meaningful.
Yeah.
And I think you said something like...
Sorry.
Oh, there she is.
I had two screens going, and I was having trouble turning one off, so I turned the wrong one off. Hello, Slavi. Thank you for having me. Sorry for being muted, everybody. And let's get on to the next person, because I'm obviously a mess.
Then we have Rudy from his channel, Rudy's Reaction.
How's it going, everybody? Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I just got back from seeing some protests that they were having in Maricopa, in the city that I'm at. So I'll probably be making a video on that here in the next few days. So that was pretty interesting. There was a lot of support for Ukraine over there. Good. A lot of support for Ukraine. So that was really awesome to see. So
amazing. Then we have Commander Macmillan. Hello, how's it going?
I've been better. I had surgery last week, so yeah, I'm high as a kite on painkillers right now.
Should be an amazing stream then.
Yeah,
we can see all his painkillers sitting there beside him. He must have been up
bottles.
Everything is plausibly deniable, including my existence.
Yeah.
And then we have Jonathan at ATP channel. Hello, how's it going? And welcome.
Hello, yeah, awesome to be here. Although this might be the shortest appearance in known history on a channel because my missus has just said through the window, your dinner's ready. And this could be like, yay, it's great to be along to talk to you guys. Here's my stupid face and see you later. Yeah, it's a crazy, all I can say, if I do have to leave imminently, is that these are crazy times we live in. And isn't it weird when like one of the biggest nations on earth that we are absolutely gunning for support for Ukraine just decides one day to switch sides? And it's just one of these defining moments in history where something like that never appears to have happened before, and we're all left scratching our heads, but also like deeply worried about the future, not just for Ukraine, but the future for kind of global democracy and alliances.
Yeah, absolutely, and our own safety. Jonathan, do you think that's true about it's never happened in history before? I was trying to think of something, and I was wondering about Richard III, and wasn't there? Can't remember the name of it.
That's real. I mean, I was talking about history that I can remember, last couple of 100 years. I mean, goodness, if you're going to go that far back, some probably crazy stuff that happened. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I just something of this magnitude. I can't think of a time where that appears to have happened. And just when you listen to Steve Witkoff yesterday agreeing to speak to Tucker Carlson. So like the choice of who you're going to get interviewed by tells you pretty much everything you need to know. And then you proceed to spout Russian propaganda just for the entirety of the interview. Then I'm just thinking, it's game over. Like, let's just cut the US loose. But then the question is, what does the US have that Ukraine needs? I was speaking to Malcolm Nance. I interviewed him this morning. and ask them this question: like, what is it that the US have that Zelensky's so desperate to hold on to, that he's so desperate to go to these negotiations and keep the Ukraine interested and trying to get the US to remain on board? What is it?
Well, I think it's that Europe wants America still to stay in NATO, isn't it? As much, well, that might not be motivation, but I think that's a very big consideration for Europe, that they haven't 100% committed themselves because of NATO.
Is there a long-term thinking here, Jonathan, where, the U.S. as a partner, you're in a way better position to rebuild infrastructure and so on over a period of years?
No, I think Europe can easily step in. I mean,
That's what I was
at the end of the day,
thinking,
when you're going to talk, when you talk about providing infrastructure, you're talking about investment, and nations are going to be interested in investment because there's a return on investment usually. So, my suggestion to my channel audience and to Malcolm Nance was that the US has certain intelligence capabilities. We know that they have certain capabilities no other nation can do on Earth, and I was wondering whether the US provides Ukraine the ability to spot ballistic missiles, target them, and therefore, if you're around Kiev, defend them with the best, PAC-3 Patriots or whatever, SAMP-T maybe. And if the US suddenly aren't on their side, then they are unable to, this is speculation on my part, but they are unable to defend Kiev. And you're unable to defend Kiev, your capital city goes, and actually you are back to being really in the shit. So there could be that. What Malcolm Nance suggested is that if you don't have the US on your side, then they're against you. And if they're against you, they start providing you.
Especially in the Trump administration. I completely agree with that right now. Absolutely.
So I guess a mixture of those.
Russia. They'll start fighting for Russia. The Jonathan Fink raised an interesting point. If everybody stops buying American arms, then perhaps they look for someone else to buy them, and the obvious choice is possibilities Russia.
There's a lot of money in arms.
Trump unveiled the jet, and in his interview, he said, "Yeah, we'll sell them to other countries, but we're gonna kind of dumb them down just in case they become our enemies." Yeah,
in the talk of the kill switch, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the last thing I'll say, because I'm going to have to go now, I'm really, really, really sorry. But one of my hopes is that if the US have shot themselves in the foot with regard to defense contractors and military industrial complex, then actually you might get some serious lobbying to Trump on behalf really of Ukraine, or a change in foreign policy that could affect an actual change in what Trump is doing, because these are people who are going to be lobbying there. Often they will be Republican senators and congressmen and women to complain that they are losing contracts, they're losing money, stock market then tanks, and stocks and shares in those companies tank, and all of this can help towards a cumulative effect on Trump. If you put that together with a movement of people, we're starting to see Bernie Sanders and AOC start to mobilize people to protest against oligarchy and money being taken from the poor to give to the rich. If that narrative combined with a military industrial complex, has got two very unusual bedfellows there, you could start seeing a change in approach, maybe.
Before you go, Jonathan, I just got to say, a very Canadian looking shirt you got on today, eh?
Dude, right. So Malcolm Nance said to me, like I'm in Montreal at the moment, and I have a guy who has an eBay shop that sells retro Canadian stuff, and he keeps sending me. He's a really strong supporter of my channel. He sends me like occasionally a box of like Canadian apparel, and I wear it. I've been wearing it during the beginning of the trade wars to stand up for my Canadian brothers and sisters. And I was wearing this today because Malcolm Nance said he was in Montreal, and he said, "Oh, I've just got back from Montreal. I'm in New York now, or wherever he is." And I'm like, "Oh, bugger." So, oh well. Oh, Canada. Oh, Canada.
Love it, man. Love it. Good shirt. Good call. Good call.
Well, look, sorry to speak so much in such a short amount of time, but take care, guys, and I'll see if I can eat quickly and rejoin you.
Perfect. Yeah, I'd love to have you back on, buddy.
Jonathan, before you go, what's for dinner?
So I'm a vegan, broadly speaking, not always, occasionally fish and whatnot, for health reasons too, in my multiple sclerosis. But my partner's made me kebabs, like homemade kebabs, like put a lot of thought into it. I have a feeling she's not using fake meat. I usually have some kind of weird fake meat that you can buy these days. But I'm not sure that she's done that. So I might be having a night off. of being far more morally superior than all of you guys.
Maybe it's a lovely evening of lamb then, right, or something, you know.
I have a feeling it is, and I haven't had lamb in bloody ages, so
It's
don't tell anyone.
Because lamb, it's vegetarian because it eats grass.
It's a very good point. A very good point. It's an argument that I think is an absolute winner. Yeah,
I love it. Yeah, good call.
No, I'm not so sure that works. It's a bit like Ukrainians and Russians, really.
yeah. Just you don't look into it too deeply.
Enjoy your dinner, Jonathan.
It's like a Marvel movie. Enjoy it on the surface. It's just
I was watching. So the last thing I say, I was watching a film with my twin boys the other day. It was like the Tomorrow War, Chris Pratt movie. One of these time loop ones. Yeah. And even then, at the age of 14, they were going, "Hang on, how does this make sense? If they in this time?" I'm like, forget it. Suspend your disbelief. It's just like an action film where people shoot aliens. That's all you need to think about.
That's funny.
All right, man.
Okay,
good night.
Take care, Jonathan. See you soon. Hopefully today.
Yeah.
All right. And we do have Andrew Mercado stopping in to see us as well today. And who knows? It's one of those days where the link is out there and it's just going to be whatever happens. We should get to some fundraising shouting out there. I do believe that'll be Claire's turn.
Oh, my turn. Okay, so we've got this big fundraiser. I'm sure everybody knows. We're going to buy 20 or more trucks for Ukraine based on 15 fabulous influencers, truth tellers, information warriors, being YouTube, ex-personalities, and NGO. We've got Eric for the European Resilience Information Initiative Center, something like that. Sergey, but he's been traveling again. I think he's been very busy. But
he always is, man. Yeah,
there's quite a few of them that haven't launched yet. Like there's Tanya's just coming back from a trip to Bulgaria and Croatia or somewhere like that. She's been down on the coast taking videos with palm trees. I'm not sure where that is. So she's back on Monday. She'll be launching. And anyway, we're hoping for 20. We're not hoping. We're certain for 20 trucks. And I think the Shills, you're buying one.
Yes.
And so let's get these trucks done. And some of our channels are little baby ones, like Rudy just starting out. First fundraiser, I think, Rudy?
Yep, it is.
Yeah. Well, so
it is Jerry.
I'll check up on whether I can see your links from time to time and harass you if I can't.
All right.
Because Ivan harasses me that people aren't showing their videos enough. Their unit videos, the Seraphims videos, I think we've got launched first, not the Hua videos yet, but the Seraphims videos we have to all show. So on our social media as well as on our on our streams, if possible. Yeah. So I don't know if you can show that, Dick, but wait for Ivan to come along because he can describe them better than I can. And I think it'd be really interesting for everybody to hear more about Seraphims. They're quite an interesting group of really long-range strikes into Russia. And so
I'm kid-free for like another 5 days or something. So we could squeeze an extra show in on like Monday and get a bunch of videos up and, really get people involved.
Yeah, well, that's possible too. The sounds exciting, Dick. You're always so good at these things. You're the kind of like the gatherer of the team. I think we really need to target a time when Tanya's prepared to come on. She doesn't have a huge time availability. She can't just drop in at the last minute. She likes to have advance warning and plan it, and she's much more professional than some of us, should I say? She edits her videos. And I think she's an interesting voice, and I really want to get Laserpig, who's a new one for us. We don't really know Laserpig, but Laserpig's
wait a minute,
got something like 455 subscriptions, so he's quite popular.
Isn't Laserpig popular in the secular community of social media are the non-secular, the
I think he's in the, but I don't know a lot about him and I don't want to speak about him until I meet him, but he's joined our group and he's got quite a big capability. But I'd like him to come on a live stream, and I send him the links and he sees them. You know how you get, the thing goes from black to blue, he's seeing them.
Mhm.
If you're listening, Laser Pig, come aboard. So he's got the link to this and he's seen it, but he might be watching us as we're playing to check us out. Come on, Laser Pig, come on in. We're keen to meet you. We'd love to meet you.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on in, dear. The water's fine.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll fill a feed trough for you. Make sure that the mud is nice and warm. We'll make a great home for you, buddy.
So everybody go across and have a look at Laser Pig's YouTube channel and get a little subscription going so that he can see that we're keen to meet him.
Yeah, it sounds like he really needs our help.
Oh, it might work both ways, you see.
Yeah. Well, it usually does, actually.
Shirley says Laser Pig is Scottish. Scottish? I didn't think he was Scottish. Gosh, I didn't know that. Anyway, I need to. He doesn't do. I haven't seen live streams on his show. I've just seen videos and things. He does a lot of music and possibly gay community stuff and stuff like that. So it's really quite interesting. And anyway, I'm really excited to have him on board this one because we didn't have him at Christmas, obviously. But we want to meet him. And so the group, so the idea is to, you remember how Ivan was talking about the fist thing? And I don't know if that really worked for us very well, but from my point of view, way I understand that is that this campaign is more about that car4ukraine group, not myself, but the others have chosen 2 units to fully equip as far as vehicles go. So it's not like a widespread this time. Like Christmas was like a whole lot of little units, but this one's like, okay, we're really going to drill down on 2 units, get them everything they need so that they can do the best that they can do and really get effective. And that's the target of this Easter campaign. Yeah. So anyway, when Ivan comes aboard, let's get him to describe the unit and maybe show that video that he's got and, that he's given to us all with where they go through all their all the channels that they're asking for cars from, because it's quite a good video. They produced that themselves with all the music and everything. They're quite capable.
That's cool.
Yeah, they are. A lot of these units now have entertainers in them that are fighting for Ukraine, and so they can put out fairly quality sort of videos.
It's the day and age where this is a skill that's necessary now, right? To get the message out. And the crowdfunding and all the group effort from the public has made a real difference.
Somebody's just noticed my drone pin. Has everybody noticed my drone pin? That's because we're raising money for the drone units.
Oh, cool.
And that's from my Christmas donation.
I thought that was like Mickey and Minnie Mouse kind of playing around after a ski trip or something.
This is the drone with the grenade in the middle, and this is from. Did you not get your Christmas set, Dick? And
oh yeah.
It's like the Baba Yaga drone, right?
What?
Baba Yaga drone.
Oh yeah, exactly.
The thing in the middle.
Yeah, I should show everybody. I'll get my stuff after and I'll show everybody.
Yeah, they're beautiful quality pins, aren't they? They're really they're really heavy, and the metal's really good quality. And as you can see, it's bedazzling bright. And I love them. But I gave most of mine to my kids who were just recently here traveling from Germany, and so now I need to do some more donations and get some more.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got 4 of them going out to one of our viewers with a picture with a Shills NAFO patch from our other fundraiser and stuff. I found a frame where the frame around the picture is like an inch thick. so that the pins can just sit across the bottom of and look really cool. It's a great presentation. Yeah.
That's nice, because you can't really. I wonder what people are doing with these if they collect them, how they're displaying them. But the little cards they come on that Ivan, God bless him, designed.
Someone put a suggestion on my channel. They said produce them out of Russian tanks.
Yeah.
That would take a lot more tooling and effort, but wow, you could auction something like that off for a couple $100 a pen and people would pony up quick, Oh yeah, especially if you could leave like the blood on the metal,
It's a little ghoulish.
But it's definitely like a trophy, and people would, marketing perspective, it's great.
There are people who do bits of Russian tank trophies. I have seen them on channels that people promote those, and
shrunken heads.
You don't get this shiny, bright look. You get a kind of rusty, old metal look, I guess. Which is attractive too. Now, did everybody just see Dick with his scissors? I just want to check he's not doing his toenails.
No, I was preparing a little medication dip there. My meds don't come in a bottle. Well, they do, but it's different than Commander's. My delivery method is a little different.
My precious.
Oh God.
It's funny. So yeah.
No, go on, Dick.
rattling on.
There's much events and stuff that could be covered and chatted about and stuff. Slavi, where do you think we should start as it pertains to what the fuck is going on in the world?
Yeah. Well, let's start from the biggest news from this past week, and it's Trump and Putin held a phone call on March 18th. Trump thought he achieved something huge, but Putin declined a full ceasefire and agreed to a 30-day halt on strikes against Ukraine's energy infrastructure. But despite talks of a ceasefire and truce, Russia intensified its attacks even after Putin's limited ceasefire pledge on energy targets. Ukrainian cities were hit by widespread mass missiles and drones. Notably was the attack on Odessa, where infrastructure and residential buildings suffered extensive damage, causing power outages in multiple districts, underscoring that the threat to Ukrainian infrastructure, despite Trump's efforts to pull a ceasefire agreement of Russia not striking energy infrastructure. And Russia's actions clearly demonstrate a lack of commitment to peace. So
They don't want it.
Huge
They just,
news this week.
I mean, they're not fooling nobody except Trump.
Yeah, well, you know what this proves? That even when Trump gives a virtual blowjob to another world leader over a Zoom call, it's not enough. He's going to have to do it in person.
He probably would too.
Oh yeah, that boy'd slurp it up like a McDonald's milkshake. I bet.
Right?
He is so desperate to get that Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah,
that's I doubt gonna happen.
Yeah, it's not happening at all.
Yeah, try convincing him of that, though.
Yeah, exactly. He really believes he's getting one, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And
it's important to say that the attacks intensified because of the talks. Yeah. This is because of him. So,
yeah.
Definitely not peace.
Did you guys see the interview? He was asked in the Oval Office, or I'm sorry, earlier this week, Trump was asked by a reporter, after you had talked with Putin, they kept on attacking Ukraine on their infrastructure or whatever it was. And he's like, they're just fighting. They're just fighting. He has excuses for Putin every single time. Yeah. But when Ukraine does something, they're in the wrong. This guy's mindset is just so ass backwards. It's crazy.
The whole thing to me was a blatant setup America taking away intelligence and support for a few days, and then you have the whole thing where Kursk goes into the unknown situation, and to me, it's literally like Trump was ordered by Putin. Okay, take it away for a couple of days. Then that way I don't have to negotiate that turf and I can keep what I've already got and we can go from there. And Trump was like, yeah, sure. All right. I just can't see it being anything else but that at this point because
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing, and that,
damn right.
you know, it's just pathetic, man. It's so embarrassing that this man is you know, my president, not my president, but the president that's in the US. So
Yeah.
I didn't vote for his ass.
Do you think his I mean, I hope we don't spend the whole show talking about Trump more than Ukraine, but it's hard not to. But do you think really his overall plan is actually world domination, that he's going to start with Venezuela and then go up to Greenland and Canada, and then by then
He's bought
actually wants Russia to take Ukraine.
he's bought into Alexander Dugin's worldview, which is that there are spheres of influence. The Russians get basically all of Europe, the United States get North and South America, and China gets Asia. And and that's where everything's supposed to fall. Nobody has an independent nation other than you live under the suzerainty of those great powers that tell you how to behave.
Yeah, that's what I think. So then Trump wants Western Europe, right?
I don't think Trump does not want Western Europe per se. He wants to break the back of Western Europe so that Russia can rightfully take over Western Europe because they fall within Russia's sphere of influence.
Oh, okay.
And
Really?
in return, he gets cut free access to anything in the Western Hemisphere. So Canada, Mexico, all of South America, all of that belongs to the US according to that worldview.
Yeah.
So that means Australia goes Chinese.
Who
Yep.
who would get African continent? Russia.
Well, yeah, Russia, but it also falls into that
Tigers.
racist mindset of who cares? It's just brown people.
Well, there's a lot of resources. That's why. I mean,
I know, but that's the kind of mindset these folks operate under. It's like, who cares? It's not important. They're not real people that we have to deal with.
well, Russia
Yeah,
is already
anybody
in
can walk
there
in and
doing
do
a
it.
lot of operations. They have been doing, like the Wagner Group and everything.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe
The Chinese
Moscow-
are also heavily involved in sub-Saharan Africa as
Oh,
well.
big time. Big time.
Belt and trade.
Yeah. Which is all the more reason that America never, ever should have backed out of there in any way, shape, or form. And you can see the why, because they were told that Trump, you get the hell out of there for now. We need to, okay, sure.
Yeah, I thought the whole Kursk thing was very suspicious. I mean, it just happened so suddenly and quickly and completely that something went awfully wrong, and I don't feel as though we've got the explanation for that yet.
Not even
It was
close.
pretty obvious to me exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I got a friend there, right? So, that
Yeah.
was, knowing that I'm just like, okay, say hi soon. I don't want to be bugging you at this moment in time, but just let me know. And we did get word. So, yeah. Oh,
I mean, that was a despicable thing to have.
I can't be forgiven. It just can't be.
No,
You're
no.
selling people down the river over, what, virtual handshakes on a Zoom call again? Like, sorry, I don't mean to be giving Zoom credit here because I actually don't think their service is all that good. But
Well, it's over self-glorification, isn't it? Isn't
Yeah.
that what it's about? I mean, it's really, really does think something shocking. The so the little blonde, dim, smiley press secretary for the White House.
Caroline
that was-
Nofax.
When she said, "Hey, Canada, we're coming to rescue you,"
Yeah.
how did that go? How does it go down? I mean, how does it feel? Because you're really like
Well, this is,
the next. Canada's like the
I've
next
got it on
Ukraine
speed dial.
thing.
Our soon to be 51st state Canada.
I've got it on speed dial,
So cute.
right?
Oh, that's just cute as a button, and I'm really
I know.
stupid.
And they
Where do they
talk
find these people?
they talk about respect all the time. A big thing with them is respect. You can't throw the word around when you're calling another leader of another country a governor. And this crap. There's no say. If you don't give it, you don't get it. That's how respect works.
Yeah, and I love the way Elon Musk goes. Let's kill empathy for everybody because it's a waste of time and it's destroyed the world. But oh, some for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's.
The hypocrisy is huge. That's kind of seems to be the theme of this administration is hypocrisy.
Huge. Yeah.
Well, it's all part of the prosperity gospel doctrine. If it's a prosperity doctrine, the prosperity gospel in
Oh.
the whole, because God has chosen you to be successful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, by being born white.
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
kind of the same
exactly.
thing as kings thought that they were anointed by God to be kings, right?
No, absolutely.
Yeah, there's a definite smell of North Korea to that.
Well, it's so Middle Ages.
Totally. I mean that's like, the Pharaoh, right?
Yeah. Elizabeth Taylor.
The concept that some people are born to be leaders and the rest of us are serfs whose only destiny is to obey what we're told by those in higher positions.
So let's get back to Ukraine. How do you think? How are they feeling? Do you have any feeling about that, Slavi, since Kursk? How that's gone down?
About Kursk, that Putin is
Yeah.
lying, or
Yeah. Pulling out of Kursk, did that hit hard in Ukraine? Because it hasn't sort of been, it seems in the press that I read that it's all just sort of been accepted as, oh, well, they're out of Kursk.
I mean, I would guess it's not a big deal because when Kursk incursion happened in the first place, a lot of people were questioning it. Do we really need to do this? And Kursk, if it's saving life and it's not that strategic to be there, then I believe it's not a big deal at all. I think most Ukrainians are focusing more on this on the Trump and Putin call and stuff and what the hell Trump is up to.
And I think they're all in the Middle East now, aren't they? They're over in Saudi Arabia with.
Yeah, so there's going to be more talks with Ukrainian, Russian, and American delegation in Saudi this coming week. So.
Yeah, I think I saw a plane arriving somewhere, some prick getting out of it. But yeah, I can't see how that's going to go anywhere at this stage. But we've got Mikado on board. How lovely.
Yeah.
He's standing desk. She's standing desk. See how he's exercising?
Yeah, did you see how cool he looked walking up to that thing and he didn't even have to sit his derriere down? He's just Mr. Slick. That's awesome, buddy.
Yeah, it's the best because I game sitting down and I also game standing, but that's why I got this because I would spend so many hours sitting down and then I would stand up and my back would be sore. I'm like, what the? I'm 31. Like I shouldn't be having pain from sitting.
Yeah, man.
I'll do that when I'm older. I'll have earned it then. Like I need to still. I still need to be in shape.
Yeah.
Andrew, have you got one of those foot cushions to stand on that exercise your legs while you're standing there? Kind of fluid cushion. Oh, there you go.
Yep.
Yeah, good. You
Yeah,
need those.
standing on a hard surface for a long period of time actually does hurt. I did that, and that wasn't too comfortable. But yeah, I have like a comfortable Uggs I'll put on, slide on if I want to put those on, or I got the comfortable pad here. Pretty
Gives
nice.
away the Uggs, the man Uggs.
Hey, they're comfortable. Hey, these are super nice. Like I'll rock those all day. Very comfortable.
Uggs
Very
are great.
comfortable.
I love Uggs.
Yeah.
Same with Birkenstocks. Fantastic.
Oh
I haven't
yeah.
tried those, but I do like the UGG.
We've got Ivan in. How's it going, Ivan?
Doing good. Yeah, I was hand sewing all that stuff, so I came late. No, kidding. We made it.
Cool.
We made it.
Looks good.
Cool.
Looks like a piece of art, actually. I love it. Who made
Yeah,
it?
hold that up again.
Claire.
Let me highlight you here. Put that up again. All right.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Was
Who
that
designed
our,
it, Claire?
It was designed by Andreas Locke from Rick's the Ukrainians group.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's actually in the chat box now, and he stumbled onto this historic coat of arms from independent Ukraine back in after World War One, and he said, "Hey, look, the emblem in the middle looks a bit like." Well, I mean, it was a trident. It was the original coat of arms, and it had all those nice little decorative bits and twirly bits, and it just looked like a Pasenki egg. And so we really wanted to use it. And then he inserted the car4ukraine trident in the middle of it and took out the historic one, which was a very little difference, but a little bit different. And then we were a bit anxious about, whether somebody had copyrighted this, not back from then, but it might still be really historically relevant piece.
Yeah.
We couldn't mess with it. And just by chance, I came across the Historical Society of Kiev and Odessa on Instagram. So I fired off a message to him. Hey, is this genuinely the coat of arms from history? And he said, yeah, you've got it in one. He was really friendly and approachable. And so I said, we want to use it for a campaign patch. Do you think that'd be all right? And he checked and said, yes, it was fine. And so I sent him a picture of the patch. I'd love to send him, they're in Kiev, I guess, but it'd be nice to send him the patch.
I have one. I'm not going to send it now.
I'll ask
We'll
him
make
for
more.
where they are at the. I know
Yeah.
one of the channels wants to interview him. I think it might be Philip Idner wants to get him on board and interview him.
I'd be in for sure.
Yeah, some of these people that you find that help you out are very interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he's pretty good. So Andreas and I have leapt ahead to the summer campaign. We're scouring the internet for historical images or things that relate to summer and try and sort of thinking a little bit ahead for a summer patch. And came across a nice historical one just recently with historical
Sunflowers with a little blood stain.
Well, no, because the sunflowers represent Ukraine.
Yeah, but that
It's
little
true.
blood stain is the fertilizer left behind from,
I think you mean the seeds in the ground.
Yeah. We got a shout out here. Our own Annette there as well, no less. Donated a $20 Ko-fi direct donation in. Thank you to Claire, Ivan, and all the Car4Ukraine crew and YouTubers for their timeless efforts to help the troops. What a great shout out. Huge.
So nice. Thank you, Annette.
Absolutely.
Very much so. So yeah, let's get the mod team in again with the direct donation links and stuff. And Andrew, we'll flip back over to you here. We were talking about some recent events and news, and the topic of Kursk came up in the timing with Trump and the intel held back and so on. I mean, to me, it seemed like Trump and Putler shook hands on that and made it happen. A little bit conspiracy theorist, maybe, but is that really that far from the truth, do you think?
No, it's really not. I mean, everything we've seen Trump do has been in favor of Russia and Putin, to the point of trying to hold Ukraine accountable for getting attacked, right?
Yeah.
for Ukraine just defending themselves. It's just beyond the pale. Just from the moment he took office, but even, years ago when Russia first invaded, about winter time in 2022 is when he from Mar-a-Lago started pushing Russian narratives about it and the writing was kind of on the wall about how Trump's behavior was going to be. Now, unfortunately, he's president, and now we're living through that. But it's just worse seeing it now, and like now, like it's here, and but you know, for like a resiliency thing, we got the Action Summit coming up first week of April. I'll be doing content at the Capitol, U.S. Capitol. Still got to do it even under a Trump administration. So we're going to go up there. Yeah, we're going to go up there, advocate for aid and other things. I'm not sure what the exact agenda is yet, but I do nightly updates when I'm up there, and I'll inform everybody like what we're talking about.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So we're still fighting. The fight's still happening. So anybody in the chat that feels so defeated, like we're still doing everything possible. Everything that's possible is being done.
Andrew, what was your reaction to a few of those on the left, the Democrats, voting to put the CR, you know, to keep it going, the budget through? I mean, to me, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Yeah, it was terrible. I mean, it's just, I'm seeing a resounding like mad against those 10 Democrats and Chuck Schumer that decided to go against the grain. It's, you know, like what so you're saying to fight against this, and then you're like not going to at the end of it. It's like
I couldn't believe Schumer did that. And as soon as he does, you're going to get others that are like, oh, okay, I can do it now too, right?
Exactly. Or like think that that's like going to be a strategy. He's like, we'll do this now, and then we'll get we'll get things from the Republicans later. Like, no, you won't. You're not getting anything. Get anything from
I think the argument that was being voiced, and I'm not saying I agree with it, but there's some validity to the argument, is that if you shut down the government, that was playing into the whole Doge hand of, okay, then it's shut down. We can take over and do anything we want because government isn't there to stop us. That's the argument. I don't think that's a valid one, but I can still see the logic that they were trying to use. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's like, well, I hear that on one hand, but on the other, they're already doing damage, like actively right now. So he's like, I don't understand what Chuck Schumer was saying, but it's like, man, like we're already seeing damage and we're already going through it.
Yeah.
So
Schumer and the DNC old guard are part of the problem. Let's be honest.
It does start to look that way, doesn't it, Commander? Because you can't just always play the same old game when the other side has completely changed the sport you're playing.
Yeah, well, Bernie and AOC held a rally, and they got, 60,000 people or something turned out for that. And so it's obvious to me that there is a following on the left for a much more aggressive and progressive agenda. But the mainstream Democrats are really, if you want to make it sound silly, they're Republicans wearing light blue underwear.
They're making signs or something like that. Like it's very weak. Very weak.
Yeah, that's what I'm noticing too. I'm seeing that because I came from the right wing. I mean, I'm honest about it. And so I've been new to the Democratic deal, and I was seeing MAGA influencers just go all through the DNC, like, and I'm just standing there like, why are they even going in there? Like, why are you even allowing MAGA influencers near you? I don't like Gavin Newsom talking to Charlie Kirk. Oh yeah, anyone. Charlie Kirk and Bannon. That was terrible. Like just terrible. Just but yeah, like Commander said, you got AOC and Bernie doing great, and Tim Walz, my governor, is doing great. I like Jasmine Crockett. She's awesome.
Yeah, very much so. She's a feisty girl, but smart, right? You know?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, yes.
She speaks her mind, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like that. Yeah, I like that. I like that. That's what I like about it. That's what I think was attracting to me to the right wing back in the day, because that's what I thought they were doing. Right now, I'm older now. Now I can see it for what it is, and now I actually see people that are fighting, and it's also a nuance because they're not getting enough attention in the Democratic Party, because the Democratic Party is choosing like Chuck Schumer and these like mid-week, like, I'm sorry, that's just, they're not meeting the moment anymore. Like,
I've seen wet noodles with more personality on camera. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Right?
Yes, exactly. No.
Yeah, it's not the way you got to do it. I mean, I agree that the message is sound and solid, but if nobody's listening, you got to change the channel and you got to push it out, right? You just.
I agree. I mean, I tell my stream, I don't have a problem with the policy. Like the policy is good. It's like good stuff. Like Biden's domestic policy was great.
It was
right?
working. He did so much good.
CHIPS Act, Infrastructure Act, child tax credit stuff, like that was all like leading to good things. His foreign policy though is the problem, right? But that was like good stuff, but that isn't the issue. All that was not getting enough attention. They didn't know how to market it properly.
Right.
The right-wing media is dominating the messaging. Like that can't happen.
Yeah,
but
you can't have the message spread by word of mouth in a tea room anymore. Those days are done, man. You got to get with the modern world, right?
Yeah, and I think like Commander said, like AOC and Bernie going out there and doing these massive, giant, like, I mean, why not? Like, as long as they're going to Congress and voting for bills and showing up to work, I mean, I'm okay with them going out and hosting these. And then I like how Bernie's calling on people in the audience. He's like, hey, how do you feel about this? And there's like 30,000 people there and plus more.
And Tim Walz going and doing the town halls in red states. Right.
Very smart.
Yeah,
especially while Republicans are canceling them. He's like, okay, well, I'll go into the red districts and then host town halls.
Yeah, I'll show you what representative government means if they won't, right?
Yeah, he knows how to talk to the right wing too. Because I mean, in Minnesota, we are like outside of the cities, it's pretty right wing, especially in St. Paul, which is our capital city. It's pretty right wing. Minneapolis is left, but also a couple other major cities. But most of the state is pretty right wing, and he comes from the agriculture world, so he knows how to talk to like conservative farmers and like actual conservatives, actual ones. So he knows how to do it.
Yeah, cool.
Good words. Good words.
What's it like down in Rudy's state?
Yeah.
In my area, it's really conservative. It's kind of this was a swing state.
How the fuck do I end up with all these right wingers around me? I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, I used to actually be a Republican, but I want absolutely nothing to do with anything that this administration represents. They are seriously, they're a disgrace and they are embarrassing. And I kind of am ashamed for ever being a registered Republican.
Yeah, same.
So yeah, I mean, I pretty much feel exactly what Andrew's saying. So,
are you in Mississippi? Where are you?
In Arizona.
Oh, Arizona. Sorry.
Beautiful state. Beautiful state.
I'm right.
Yeah, it's just hot.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but it's a dry hot. It's not humid hot. There's a difference in Arizona.
I like dry hot.
Yeah, man. In dry heat, like up where I live, we get 40 degrees Celsius, which is like stupid hot, right? But you can still function because the humidity level is like 12% or something, right?
You could not function at 40 degrees. It's way too hot.
Yeah.
So I'm in the subtropics where hot means humid. Yeah.
Yes.
Post-cyclone, there's a lot of moisture around to be had. Hot days are very killing.
We get that in Minnesota too. We get humidity pretty bad, and I don't go outside during those days. Or when I had to play baseball back in the day when I was a kid, those were the worst. Just downing Gatorades.
You can feel the thickness of the air slowing the bat down, right?
Yeah, it's soupy. It's like soup outside.
At least you don't get like with the humidity bugs sticking to you. So I get that.
Yeah.
So go on.
Well, I was going to do a fundraiser reminder. I was going to get Ivan to do it this time. So let's pump this fundraiser and get some donations in, buddy. What do you think?
I do agree with what you just said. And I was sort of impressed by talking to the guys who initial idea about the fundraiser came when these guys reached out to us, the Seraphims. These are the group of people who are less famous than, I don't know, like Gur or Magyar Birds, but were pretty efficient. And in fact, when they were making a video, where they actually kind of address to different YouTubers in their communities, they were actually pulling back from Kursk in about the same days. And I'm like, guys, if something is like really difficult out there, you don't need to make a video, just send photos or just say you're good, and we'll make a story. but they said no. We committed, and they somehow found a way to make it. So these guys, they don't only fight well, but they also are committed, responsible, and I think so far this is the biggest fundraiser for a single group that we are making.
Cool.
And with these 12 vehicles that are going to them, we will make it. We'll make a significant push forward to make sure that they're mobile, and some of their equipment that they operate is worth $1 million. It's like without any exaggeration, sometimes even more. So they do interesting things, and so these eggs will help. So yeah.
So
Go
yeah.
to, I don't. Is there? Do we have a link?
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
link is in the description, but more importantly, it's in the live chat. Our moderator team is the team that others learn from. As people talk, you'll see their links dropped. You'll see the donation link dropped. Oh yeah, absolutely. And let's get some donations in, fellow babies. Let's get this rocking. Let's give a little round of applause to everybody who's already donated and helped out the cause and what we've got going on here. We really like our new friendship with Ivan and Claire and the Car for Ukraine team.
Thank you.
They're our kind of cats to be fundraising with, very much, very much.
Did you see that the last one that you guys helped to raise money for? It's going to become the rocket launcher.
Mm-hmm. I love those words, rocket launcher. It's like a famous musician from Canada, Bruce Coburn. If I had a rocket launcher, some son of a bitch would die. Great tune.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, that's exactly right.
Yeah,
that's
man.
Exactly the case.
Yeah.
Let me.
Hey!
Now we'll get
see
some
if I can.
Yeah, everybody can take a break here. I'll get Phil on the show, and he can take it for half an hour here. Hold on. Let me just get everything set up here.
He's got the Shills.
Hey, I love Phil. He tell you a story, and it's just like the best story. And
Man, the first time we were lucky enough to have Phil as a guest on the show, I was like, "Okay, buddy, save the link and just join us whenever you want."
No, Dick, picture this. So I think like maybe it was the second or third time me and Phil hung out in Kyiv. We went to a beautiful museum. It's like the Village Museum. I can't remember the exact name right now. So we got to walk around, and Philip was telling me all about the history, and it was like the coolest experience like ever. It was so cool. Phil, what was the name of that museum that we went to?
It's the Heritage Museum.
Yeah, that was the coolest.
It's like it's like a park more than a museum, just to set the scene. It's like a recreation of different villages from different time periods in different regions within Ukraine. So you got to see like the Germanic influence, the Polish influence, like in the 16th century, but then later in like the 18th century, and it's an enormous park, and they also they rent it out for like rock festivals and different kind of events and stuff like that. Yeah, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. It's a great place. Anybody who comes to Kiev should definitely go out and check it out.
It's the open air one, right? The Pirogov museum that you're talking about. Mm-hmm. The funny thing is when I brought my parents there, they are from a village, and when they grew up in a village, which is always like a little bit behind in terms of development of the city-ish development is it's not that right. When they came to that museum, they're like, oh, this house doesn't look like museum. This house is like my grandma's house.
Yes.
Feels like I just came back to my village. So they didn't. Yeah, they weren't that excited. Like, oh, how ancient! They're like, oh yeah, I grew up in things like that.
Yeah.
It was quite an interesting.
Like windmills and things like that. And then we ran into these two old women that were making souvenirs for the park. And I even have one.
Yes, I have mine.
I have mine right here that we bought off of them. And we learned the tradition of these. And these are fascinating little dolls. As they were explained to us by the women who were creating them, they're faceless and they have no ears and no mouth. And the idea is that you can tell your secrets. If you're a little girl, you can tell your secrets to this doll instead of telling your secrets to somebody else who might betray your trust and thereby ruin the good reputation of your family. So
The
these are
Matonka
meant,
doll.
yeah, these are meant, they're not just meant as a doll for a child, but it's also a sociological kind of thing to make sure that the purity of the young girl, this is village life, would be maintained so she could tell her secrets to the doll, and the doll will never betray the trust and never lie.
That's
and
cool.
never, because they don't have mouths.
Yeah.
I keep mine in my travel backpack when I go places. I actually do bring it with me.
Cool.
That's good, 'cause
So,
it also keeps the bad energy
Yes.
Yeah.
away from you, and
Mhm.
yeah, they're good
But
here. I have one.
also, Phil, they were weaving camouflage for the soldiers at the same time while telling us all
That's
these
right.
stories. They were making
That's
camo
right.
nets for the soldiers. It's like while giving
and,
us this.
and there was a drone school going on as well.
There was a lot happening in this
Yeah.
museum or
let me
this
just-
open air.
Let me just jump in quick, Commander. Do we have your audio? No, we don't have Commander's audio. Let me try and reconnect them. We have an issue. Let me try here. You might have to rejoin to refresh it, Commander. It might just be lost. Yeah,
Who's have an issue?
yeah. Well, at least we've only had one so far. That's a hell of a lot better than 5, right? So, yeah,
Doing well.
Yeah.
Well, man.
let's.
The truck I wanted to show of the phone. I can show it on my screen if you don't mind.
Yeah, you can
fill the
you can
gap with
screen
that.
share over, and I can highlight it up real quick. No worries.
Yeah. So this was maybe I go up. Yeah. This was the truck we sent as a number 14 of the Trucks Under Christmas Tree campaign. And because we didn't raise the full amount on the Shills, ATP Geopolitics, Jonathan Pierce, he sort of just killed it. And now this thing is going to be killing something else.
Yeah.
Not someone, something, right?
Cool.
And that's
Feel the wrath.
3-liter Hilux, highlighted with the Shills, Invincible, I think a good name. And this is actually the person behind the rockets.
Oh,
Quite
cool.
innocent young boy, but that's a guy with his son. He actually did the engineering of how to make it happen. So it can be efficient. They basically take those old Soviet Grads that are covering a huge space, and they turn it into very precise machines that do something like this.
I love this guy.
So it's the previous one
Low
from
key.
the ATP.
Yeah, but this guy that
Jonathan
launches
Pierce.
so low key.
ATP
We-
Geopolitics. Yeah.
We're not getting the audio of him. He kind of
Oh,
goes
no?
on.
You don't need the audio. Don't worry about that. Yeah, the audio is.
Thank you to
Yeah.
car4ukraine, and thank you to ATP Geopolitics, and boom. Like,
Oh, he was like, they'll suck our dick over there.
Oh
There you
yeah, baby.
Yeah,
Oh
there you go.
yeah.
he's
He
hilarious.
didn't even blinked. Did you
No.
see that look? He's right. He didn't even blink. It's like,
Phase
okay,
him,
let's
man.
do it and let's
Yeah.
have a coffee, It's like, good, fine.
Like, he
Yeah,
doesn't
baby.
even turn around to watch it. It's crazy. Well, he can't be on
Yeah.
camera, but
He's like playing a toy, He's
Now-
like, yeah.
Now everybody gets to see why we call it the Boom Boom Fund. That was awesome.
Yeah, guys. It's not always looking that cool, but trust me, those trucks that we're gonna be sending this fundraiser, There will be also nice, interesting things flying from the trucks, and yeah, doing boom boom as you say there.
Awesome. Awesome. Let's whip this into a frenzy of donations and get some destruction on the battlefield so the orcs can feel the wrath of what's coming. Oh, yeah, baby. Bring it on. I need a beer. Hold on a second here. Slavi, what do you think? Where should we go next?
Yeah, lots of news to get through. But since we were just talking about the Trump administration, let's talk about Doge, what they're doing. They just recently abruptly actually ended federal funding for Yale University's Humanitarian Research Lab, which was leading efforts to track Ukrainian children illegally deported to Russia. In addition to halting support, Doge allegedly deleted crucial databases containing evidence of these abductions. And yeah, this decision significantly undermines accountability efforts, disrupts future war crimes investigations, and benefits the Kremlin by erasing documentation of a campaign that may constitute genocide under international law. It also weakens Ukraine's leverage in talks on returning abducted children and directly benefits Russia by erasing proof of potential war crimes and genocide. It hands Moscow a propaganda victory and removes a key pressure point in peace negotiations.
That's a heavy but well laid out point.
It's truly unbelievable that they could do this. I mean, I have to assume that Ukraine has copies of all this material, that it's not just held in America, that the information's not lost forever.
What do you think on the...
One can hope. One can hope, but I think the cruelty is part of it. I think they're doing it on. What other?
Yeah.
What does this accomplish? What is this? Why? You know, unless you're purposefully being, you know, you're covering for war crimes, which is
exactly.
You know.
I have a feeling
it's
that
heartbreaking.
That the Trump administration is going to eventually be like, what children? There were no abducted children. And that's why, you know what I mean? That's why this is being deleted. They're trying to get rid of this evidence to later on down the road be like, there is no abducted children. So, you know.
Yeah. Because the Russians are already saying that, aren't they? So the Americans will say it just the same. Yeah.
It's also what Putin is wanted by the ICC is for the abduction of Ukrainian children. Technically he has a warrant out. If he lands on a Western democratic country, he goes to prison for this or to trial. But this is exactly what he's wanted for, and
just like Andrew Tate, I bet he'll show up in America with open arms waiting for him eventually, right?
At least in the Trump administration.
White House. Do you know he'll wear a suit at the White House even?
I mean, and he'll also be able to attend the UN General Assembly, Security Council meetings.
Yeah.
So, you know, he can fly to New York, and they won't do bugger all about it, and he'll be able to address the UN General Assembly and put Russia's case forward. And
it's mind-fuckingly bogglingly unbelievable that we are seeing this, and it's not an alternate reality book or film. It's actually our world right now. I can't believe this.
No, it's impossible.
I'm only able to attend the second half of the show today because I actually just came from a departure cocktail party, whatever, for a bunch of guys who were doing USAID, and they're leaving. They were hoping to stay, but they got their marching orders at the beginning of the month, and they have to be out by the 31st. And so they had this kind of, well, it was one of the guys' birthday parties, so it was kind of double duty. but yeah, it was all USAID local staff and Americans who are the Americans having to say goodbye to their staff. And we all, and yeah, there was a fair bit of drinking going on and a bunch of dancing and, trying to put a brave face on things. But the topic of conversation was repeatedly like, I can't believe this. How do we get here?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. It is.
Yeah. I'm scared for what's coming next. I got a few shout outs here I'm going to do quick, and then we'll spin it around here again. So Lynn's Definition sent in a $30 direct donation. I believe it's in PayPal and not through Ko-fi direct. But there's no message on it. Now, I know Lynn from this channel for quite a while now. So the message is, throw that money in the Boom Boom Fund so an orc can feel the wrath of a Car for Ukraine rocket. So that's got to be what's going on there, right? I might be, filling in blanks, but I'm pretty sure I filled in the right ones there. We got Stretch in with a direct Ko-fi donation as well there. Keep up the good work. A little something to add for the pile for the boys. Slava Ukraine. Heroam Slava. Right? We've got Mexi Girl in, one of our moderators as well, with a direct Ko-fi donation there. Car for Ukraine, Boom Boom Fun. Oh, yeah. We've got, let me just make sure I'm caught up here because I think that's the same one. We got a couple here as well. Johnny Nevergard in the super chat column there. Hello, Shillers, Slava Ukraine, Hero Slava. Thank you, Johnny. Petra Olsen, Swedish kroners, 129 of them as well. With love to Ukraine and with love, thou shall be sent. I don't have enough hands. There we go. And then we've got Paul Gilbert as well in with a super chat. Love to Ukraine and Canada from London. Trump says he wants to join the Commonwealth. Let that sink in. Oh, my God. It would be his wealth that is common, not to anyone else. But I guess you could rejiggle that to somehow make sense, right? I think we're caught up. I know there's been some donations as well directly to Car for Ukraine. So what we'll do is we'll connect with Ivan and Claire tomorrow, and maybe we can get a list of names from today's donations, or I can get them on the website, right? Yeah, I always forget that. And we'll do a big thank you on a community post as well. But let me bring up the website because I could probably give you those names. I only just figured this out. Yeah, we normally do our fundraising direct through us and then just give the money. So I've got 3 years of behavior pattern of not having anything to show because I'm not showing anybody my PayPal account. Fuck all that, right? It's not happening. So yeah, I'll get the webpage up in the background so we can give you some updates the way Andrew so professionally does. And now I'm realizing it. I am looking pretty stupid here. So why don't we turn to Andrew for some remarks on the world and what's going on as it pertains to Ukraine as I try to get my shit together in the background.
Yeah, so one of the news coming out of Ukraine, we have the ceasefire, so-called, that Trump said that was a thing. It turns out not to be because a Russian drone attack killed 3, injured 14 in Zaporizhia, which hit homes and communal buildings. It shows that the limited truce is not holding. Civilian areas are remaining vulnerable despite whatever Trump and Putin are talking about on the phone. I'm not sure what that is, but nothing's changed. Like, it's as if Trump and Trump's team has not even tried to do anything. Like, it would have been better if they actually didn't, because of the damage that they've done and taken away intelligence to Ukraine, literally stopping equipment from crossing the border from Poland into Ukraine. Like, actually, it was on the rails, and they were like, "Stop." That was crazy. And then disrespecting Zelensky the way they did. Like, that's the 3 things they've done, actually. But in terms of the war, they haven't stopped it or anything.
The stunt, just before, sorry, but the stunt in the White House, that was pre-planned. There's no fucking way that happened naturally.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is Vladimir Putin's ceasefire.
Exactly.
Can you see that? Can you see
Intensified as
that?
well, because
We are currently right now as we speak under air raid alert, and they don't do that unless there's something in the air. So that's Vladimir Putin's ceasefire for you.
Also, there's Witkoff, Trump's guy. He went on Tucker Carlson and said that Putin is actually not a bad guy.
Oh, dear God. Okay, hold on a second here. That gets the goat. What the fuck is the balloons up for? Sorry, everybody. That was weird timing here. We get one more for that. We'll go with this one. Sometimes you got to have buttons to play with, man. It's just, it's one of those things.
Did we lose Commander? I don't see his video.
Commander has popped in and out a couple of times, and he seems to be having an issue. So he was restarting his computer, and he should be back in soon here.
So I replayed that video that somebody made of Zelensky in the White House where he knocks Trump over backwards with a big fist.
Oh, yeah, here.
What I mean.
I got this one here.
And yeah, that one. I mean, I love it so much. And Facebook sent me a thing that this was fake news and that they'd taken it down. And it gives you the right to argue it. So I went into the argument box and said, actually, I thought it really happened. Wasn't it real? That's what they say. They always go with the, no, it's true. Ukraine invaded Russia Anyway, I hope they come back to me and will argue it with me.
Yeah.
And then the next day, Elon Musk sent me a friendship request. So I thought that was pretty good. I was pretty happy to get that request, as you can imagine.
Absolutely. Okay. Let me just, I think we almost got Commander back here. I'm just doing a thing in the background. So everybody go ahead. I'll mute. Sorry.
So do people have thoughts on what's happening in Germany? Was the German removing the break on borrowing money, was that a really big deal, do you think, for defense, that they've got possibility for unlimited spending on defense? Is this going to be a big deal and that gives Europe a lot more capability?
I would like to turn to Commander on this. It's one thing when Europe starts spending money extra and starts saying, we're going to do this and that. But what are the logistics in the background about getting into a position where all this bravado actually means something?
I think the election was a wake-up call for Europe. I mean, the first time it happened with Trump getting into office and all this nonsense, that's an anomaly. It's terrible, but, hopefully it won't repeat itself. The second time, everybody in the centers of power in Europe came to the realization that they're going to have to find their own security without having to rely on the U.S. quite so heavily, because we are no longer a dependable actor.
Yeah, the idea of the United States not being dependable as the leader of security as it pertains to democracy and freedom.
It changes the entire post-World War II paradigm globally.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the things you counted on as this bipolar or tripolar world, if you wanted to include China as a separate entity. But, there were these three pillars that everything rested on. And now all of a sudden we're finding that one of the pillars isn't really there anymore. And the Europeans, rightfully so, are getting very nervous and starting to realize they need to depend on themselves for their own security. I think, honestly, this is a good thing. Hopefully, we will come to our senses and come back into the fold as a respected member. But You have to realize all it takes in a democratic system is one goofy election to screw everything up.
Yeah.
You vote the tyrant into power, be it Erdogan or Orban or Trump.
Well, and the knock-on effect is who's going to be buying F-35s?
Oh yeah.
Who's going to be buying ATACMS? Who's going to be buying
Well,
Abrams?
potentially Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
Well,
we're quite there yet,
if
but
Russia can find the money, they'll buy them from us.
yeah. But I in all seriousness about that, I think the other shoe has yet to drop.
I agree.
When it comes to that, because Lockheed Martin and Raytheon are going to be knocking on Donald Trump's door and saying,
We need fucking
What-
sales, man.
what the ever loving fuck have you done to our exports? And it's, and the one thing that we know Donald Trump is fixated on is wealth and wealth generation. So we'll see. I mean, he of course is still compromised by the Kremlin, so it may not matter. But I know there are a lot of guys right now at those various arms manufacturers that are looking at their stock price plummeting and looking at their sales plummeting. And
this is
all you have to do is look at Rheinmetall going
Exactly
up
right.
going up 400% in a 36-hour period of time. I think it was.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's an idiot. The man's an idiot.
Yeah, definitely. There's so many stupid things involved that I find it hard to believe that one human being could be that stupid. And you always fall back to, the real agenda behind these moves and whatnot. And Phil, I've been struggling with this before you joined the show because, I bring up something that sounds half-assed conspiracy theory or something, but we're in a day and age now where that's the reality we're dealing with because, this is big business trying to take over government.
Oligarchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been saying for many, many years that I believe that Donald Trump is compromised by the Kremlin. Well, it's undeniable now. Even
that
if
spaghetti stuck to the wall,
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if it's just in terms of the fact that he is regurgitating the same worldview and the mentality of the Kremlin in the Oval Office, that is enough to say this man is compromised by the Kremlin. I think it goes far deeper than that, and this is where we get into tinfoil hat territory. But I say that having monitored Russia for a very long time, and Trump's ties to the post-Soviet space are deep. They're real deep. And I mean, at the very least, now when MAGA says, Russia, we can say, yeah, but look at what Putin says, and then look at what Trump says.
Yeah.
And they're saying the same damn thing.
Yeah, the only
So there's
difference is
something
a
going
little.
on.
The only difference, Phil, is a little bit of reiteration to reword it for the different audience, but it's the same exact result, isn't it?
Yeah. To say that there's nothing going on is being willfully naive.
And I think a lot of it is tied directly into his own personal finances, because we know that through Russian influence, he was able to get something like, what was it, 1.6 billion in unsecured loans through Deutsche Bank. That try getting an unsecured car loan for yourself.
Yeah. You end up with a bag of peanuts that you had to pay $2.50 for, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then this guy is just able to pull that off. All it takes is somebody telling Deutsche Bank, yeah, we're no longer covering that unsecured loan for you. And they're left holding the bag, and then he gets his entire financial empire crashes in like the proverbial house of cards.
Yeah.
So it's, I don't think it's that he has a P-tape or something that everybody keeps talking about. And if he does, so what? He's already been exposed with so many, bizarre things about his behavior, any of that coming out in the press isn't going to have an impact anymore. It all hinges, I think, on the financial aspect.
Yeah.
I do think so. Did you see Vlad Vexler said that Trump needs Putin to self-regulate his narcissism? I mean, I'm not really
I like that phrase. That's good.
That was his explanation, that it was a psychological commitment to this, that you've got somebody that's as all-powerful in his own country as Putin, prepared to talk to you on the phone, really feeds into your narcissism complex. Yeah. And that's what he uses Putin for. And that's where it's all coming from. But anyway, that's Vexler's point of view. It was quite interesting thing that he did on it. He did a deep dive into what's motivating all these people.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a very insightful observation. It feeds into his desperate need for approbation from external sources because he has no internal sense of his own worth.
Yeah.
No, worse than that, he knows. He knows in his heart, in the depths of his heart, he knows that he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And he knows.
That's being generous there, Phil. Come on.
Yeah. He knows he's a weak. He's a weak man. He's a man that's desperate for validation, and in his heart of hearts, he knows it. And that only feeds that loop, I think, of desperate need for validation.
Yeah.
And you see it the same with the King or Queen of England. He's really keen to get over there and get in the palace and have a special meeting with kings and queens of England. And he's got some obsession with that that's kind of weird in this world that he's living at the moment. But he's very keen to get over there and do a thing with King Charles. King Charles could, potentially be a significant player in this.
We have Prince William. I just saw this this morning, but Prince William,
is he the guy with the pimples?
Ukrainian kids.
Oh, he's lovely. We love Prince William.
Who's the prince with the pimples? I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I know. It's just a sad Canadian joke is all.
With the freckles.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The Ginger one. Yeah.
That's Harry, who's in America now, isn't it? Freckly Harry. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think they're between California and Canada.
Yeah. Slavi, what were you saying about Prince William?
Yeah.
So I saw this morning, I'm not sure what was the location, but Prince William was meeting with Ukrainian kids, and his wife, Kate, is a huge supporter of Ukraine as well. So they do a lot of kind of showing up for Ukraine and these charities and events and advocating for Ukraine. So the royal family, they're very pro-Ukraine, I'd say.
Oh, that's good. That's cool. That's cool for sure.
I think the Brits generally are still very much on board with supporting Ukraine.
Yes.
As a whole, I agree. Yeah, definitely.
I think most of the European countries, at least the big ones, are.
I think Europe has a way better sense of the situation, that making sure Ukraine has no expansion is the only option. There's not some, but we could relax, sanctions and maybe everybody could make a few bucks and none of that garbage going on, right?
The only concern
are a problem.
Yes. And my only concern about the Europeans is not my only, but one of the concerns I have about the Europeans is the erosion into their body politic, where we see Kremlin money supporting generally the far right. You look at the Dutch under, Wilders and all that kind of stuff. And, Obviously there's influence all over the place. Le
You got
Pen,
you got Elon in now with the hard right, all over the
there
place,
you go.
right? Yep.
There you go. And the other thing that concerns me about the Europeans is that they still remain fractious. That's always been one of their major problems, is this European Union project, which kind of
Do you think, Phil, that this situation is going to pull more unity to it? I mean, we're seeing it in Canada with the threats against us, right?
I think it might take an external threat and the abandonment of the Americans, that they no longer can rely on the Americans. I think these two things combined could very well push the Europeans to do something that they loathe to do, and that's work together.
Yeah.
Also, there were huge protests last weekend, mostly in Eastern Europe. But there was Romania who annulled an election of having a pro-Russian right-wing guy run, Georgescu, guy run for president. Also, huge protests, probably one of the biggest in Serbia, which they got Vucic to step down. And people are waking up in Europe, especially Eastern Europe, to right wing having, being pro-Russian and standing up against it. I'm not Western Europe will flow with it, but.
Well, the Scandinavians are well aware of it, and obviously the former Warsaw Pact nations are well aware of it. What I thought was interesting about that Romanian story, particularly, was the fact that everybody was jumping up and down and screaming about, oh my God, this is, the failure of democracy, and they're denying their citizens their vote and all that kind of stuff. And then they go and raid this guy's house, and in the backyard, he's got dug in a hole, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, I don't know how many thousands of dollars, and tickets to Moscow.
And grenades and
grenades, and it's like, no, it's the same thing with like the raid of the Orthodox Church.
Phil, boys will be boys.
Yeah, what's a few grenades between friends? But it's similar to the raids on the Russian Orthodox Church here in Ukraine. It's like everybody jumping up and down screaming about how can you close these churches down? Well, they're not churches, they're fifth columns. And if you go and you raid their churches, you find money, you find paraphernalia, you find all sorts of things to support division within Ukraine.
Insurrection.
We gotta stop looking. They use our civil liberties, they use our democracies, they use our freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of assembly against us. And we have to start recognizing that there's a reason why. Sorry?
I said, sounds like the MAGAs.
Yeah. That's why I think MAGA is a GRU project, but that's
just a little.
Anyhow.
Yeah.
We have to start differentiating between all these liberties we have, including freedom of the press, against information warfare. And there's a difference between these liberties and information warfare. So, yes, I'm, as a journalist, someone who is fully supporting freedom of the press, freedom of speech. But when you weaponize speech, when you weaponize these liberties and use it against us, well, then it stops being civil liberties and it starts being a weaponized, tool of the Kremlin. So it's a fine line.
And Ukraine's
better wake up.
Ukraine's better off having control of those churches and stuff and whatnot. And you want to do the same religious practices, fine, go ahead, but it can't be with influence. It just can't be there, right?
Yeah. If you take orders from a former KGB agent pretending to be a patriarch in Moscow,
you're gonna end well, man.
Yeah.
Very much.
That's not faith, it's cultism.
Yeah. So let's do a little update on fundraiser activities here. directly through the Shills. We're at 550 euros donated so far. So big thanks to everybody. Let's have a round of applause for the crew, shall we? And I'm sure, we'll get bigger and bigger and bigger. If I scroll down here, I could put this on the screen for y'all, or it's not even set up. It's not even set up. Dear Lord, really? Okay, hold on, everybody here. I'll babble as I do this just to make it a little bit more tolerable. There we go. We come back over here.
I can always yammer.
yeah. Oh, I got it. So here, see, we're at 550 euro donated directly. And if I scroll down a bit, there's some of the lovely pins you can get. There's the drone pin there. Hold on a second here. Let me get my little pin. Yeah, let me get my little tool. There we go. We can zoom that in for you. And
get your little tool out there, Rick.
Words you never want to hear a woman say to you, but
did you receive yours when we shipped that to you?
Yeah. I that's when I was down for that week there. So I never got in touch with you guys, but I got the whole package. I have shown the flag on the show once. I'm gonna do some rearranging. And yeah, I got the pins and the patches and everything. And absolutely I did. Let me just scroll down here a bit more. Because I think there's like does this show me the total or anything, or where am I now? You know what? I'm confused. Hold on.
There was If you just open it and you scroll down a little bit and you'll see the total.
Okay.
Yep,
oh,
there you go.
Yeah, there we go. So the total donated already, as you can see here, let me just zoom it in a bit more. Look at that. 19,901 euro. Wow.
We're getting close to the second truck.
Yeah, very close.
In a short time. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Very much
and
so.
A lot of people haven't launched yet, so there's still a lot of engine to go in this campaign.
Yeah. Let me just see what's going on. Okay, there we go. Everything's kicking back in. My computer's running very strangely. So in the live chat, let me know if you get any buffering or anything. I don't know what's going on, but my CPU and GPU usage are way higher than normal. There's something not right today. I'm just hoping to God this stream holds together right now. And when I say that, keep in mind, I've got one of those Mac Studios with the Ultra chip. Like, I've got serious horsepower, so something's wrong. My computer should not be running this hard. There's something weird going on. Let's just hope it holds together. But yeah, thank you, everybody. Congratulations for helping us and helping Ukraine. And let me go over to here because I've got, let's see here. We've got, I don't know if I shouted this one out, so we'll do it again. But we got Stretch in with a $20 direct Ko-fi donation there. Keep up the good work. A little something to add for the pile for the boys. Yeah, I did read that. Slava Ukraine. And then we got Karen Hensman as well. A direct Ko-fi donation here. Sorry, it'd be more, but already donated elsewhere. Hey, donations are donations. Never say sorry. And always take good pleasure in knowing that every little bit helps, because it really does. And if I look over here, we've got Lynn S. I'm pretty sure that'd be Lynn's definition there. That's why we are siding with Europe with a huge Canadian flag. That one right there, fellow babies. Yeah, great super chat. Well, I'll bring the applause right up for that one. And then we got Niles G gifting out memberships. Oh, yeah. Thanks, Niles. We love gifted memberships around here because once we get our claws into them, they can't get away. So let's see here. Time-wise, we're okay. We got about 25 minutes. Andrew, I'm surprised you're even functioning properly because game streaming has become something that is kind of replacing sleep for you lately, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been my escape, honestly. Yeah, I put 222 hours into a game recently. So, and we just finished it, and it was great. So, and now we're doing.
What were you playing?
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Really good one.
What's the general of the game? Like, what's going on?
First person, open world, role playing game. You play as this dude named Henry, and you're in like 1400s Bohemia, and like you're in the middle of like like Sigismund versus Wenceslas in 1400s Bohemia, and it's just like you're just plopped in that time period, and it's just like the coolest thing.
Cool.
Bathhouses, you know, fighting bandits, you know, having a horse.
Awesome.
It was just a nice like escape to get away from current events.
Yeah, man. You know, I've started looking at firing up some of my stuff just for that escapism thing as well, right? I find these days it's so hard to find good movies and TV shows to get that escapism from, that the entertainment world of gaming and stuff is maybe the better place to find it now.
Yeah, it truly is. Like I've always liked single player games or like chill games where I can just kind of kick back. Ever since I was a kid, I never really got. I mean, I like multiplayer games, but I don't like the competition. Is just so ridiculous. Like,
as soon as it becomes that, it takes you away from just enjoying.
Yeah, you're not having fun. You're not really unless you're
right?
with your friends. If you're playing with your friends and you're hanging out, but like, who wants to get stressed out when you're not supposed to be doing something that's stressing you out?
Exactly. I was thinking of going back in time and starting to play some of the old LucasArts games like Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis and stuff, because they're just chill, man. You know?
Yeah, they're just a good time.
Yeah.
Andrew, I know you're trying to get away from Ukraine and the whole thing, but have you played Stalker 2, the new one?
Oh yeah. I have streamed it. I've streamed it. I didn't finish it though because the game still needs to be worked on a little bit more. And now I think it's been updated a few times. It just had an update come out 2 days ago. So I'm streaming that at the end of the year again because I want to stream a complete game when it's full. And I didn't criticize them obviously because they made this game during the war. So I didn't like. You know, like Ubisoft, for example, I'm playing Assassin's Creed. Like, I'll shit on them because they're a multi-billion-dollar company. You know,
there's
like,
no excuse for
there's no excuse,
right?
There's no excuse for releasing a bad game if you're like an American company, but the Ukrainian company,
unless you have missiles flying over you.
Exactly. Which is why I said, hey guys, like we almost beat the game, but let's come back to it when it's completely ready, and let them cook a little bit more. So we'll be getting back into that. It's a really good game. It's a really good game.
Andrew, do they have good? Sorry to jump in. Do they have good adaptation in English version? Because I know they have like nice Ukrainian music, and when Russians are playing it, the Ukrainian music is still on.
Mm-hmm.
And
cool.
How does it work with English?
No, I like the Ukrainian dub better. Like it sounds more authentic. It just sounds, you can feel the emotion behind.
Is it like watching like a classic Studio Ghibli anime where the original actors are just better, even if you have to subtitle it? Is that what you're?
It's like Fallout, but if you were playing extreme mode, like the hardest difficulty possible, and like everything's trying to kill you, even the air. Like the air around you is trying to kill you too.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's so cool. Like it's the coolest thing though, and it's all Ukraine. It's Ukraine, and like the voice acting in Ukrainian is 10 times better. But on a live stream, when most people are like listening to, and they're like maybe they have to step away, and then they need the English, just because most of my viewers are English speakers. But by yourself though, the Ukrainian dub of Stalker 2 is 10 times better. Like not even close, because you can actually feel the emotion behind the voice acting, and the English dub is just like sounds kind of like AI generated sometimes. It sounds, they tried their best, but you can't.
Also, I know what happened during when they were creating the game during the war. Russians hacked the game, and in return, Ukrainians didn't make a Russian version. So Russians, whoever plays it, have to play it in Ukrainian. So
that's incredible. Also, the developers of the game. The developers of the game fundraised like an entire fleet of vans for the soldiers, like multiple times.
Oh,
I think they've done it like twice.
Yeah.
And actually, when I went to Kramatorsk with Greg, Terry, and Rick, we actually saw a Stalker 2 van with the soldiers using it.
Cool.
Yeah.
They actually, in fact, they sent, as of right now, I think about 2,000 of nearly identical gray Volkswagen T5 transporters.
Wow.
I dived actually into that topic because I was wondering, like, how the hell you manage it.
Yeah.
And I found some reasons how they do it. But yeah, they don't only own Stalker. They own some other companies that generate profit, and it's good that they return back to the community in that way. But yeah, overall, I mean, great companies and they do great things. An interesting thing about the dubbing, you said that, you know, in English it doesn't sound that nice. We had a national discussion here in Ukraine maybe about 2 years ago while fighting a war about whether or not we should remove Ukrainian dubbing and leave only English so Ukrainians can learn better English. This is like Scandinavians and Dutch learn English better. But Ukrainian dubbing is so freaking good that it's just not gonna happen. It's so good. Like with my baby, we watched, you know, cartoon Cars.
Yeah.
In Ukrainian. It's freaking amazing. I mean, I turned back to English. It's like, it's fine.
I'll have to get a copy of that. I need a copy of that.
To compare and contrast too, to give more, we're playing Assassin's Creed, the newest one, and it takes place in Japan. And I played there's like a Japanese Portuguese dub, which is like the actual language of like the people in the game. And that it just sounds so much more authentic. Like, because the time where you're in Japan, you hear Japanese, there's emotion behind what the words that are being said, but it's very much like Stalker with Ukrainian. Like you actually, even though you don't speak Ukrainian, you can read the subtitles, but you can still feel the emotion of like the characters of like what's going on more.
Yeah, it's like when you go back to the 70s and you got some guy from Alabama trying to be the Russian spy in a movie or something, right? You know,
well, my favorite was Sean Connery down in the submarine, right? Speaking of he was the Russian captain.
One ping only.
So
or Arnie. Get to the chopper.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, dude. It just doesn't cut it.
Yeah.
I think Sean Connery could get away with a lot.
Yeah. It's not a Tuma. It's not a Tuma at all.
The most famous one, though, I think, has to be Tony Curtis. Yonder lies the castle of my father. You know, it was just. It's this medieval costume thing from, you know, the 60s or whatever.
It's Bulba.
He didn't even make it.
It's Taurus Bulba.
I was gonna ask you, Commander, what's Charlie Curtis's TikTok? Is he on Twitch?
God, I mean, it was so bad. It's become kind of a cult gag. Everybody knows. Oh, like castle my father.
Oh, I've said it before around here, but we are definitely humor for those that are a little bit older rather than younger. That's just how it works around here.
I like old movies.
That's the story. That's the story of a Cossack hetmanate, and his father. Gotta
say it right.
Is a hetman, and Curtis plays a guy who's been educated in Poland, and he comes back and he tries to readapt to being a Cossack.
Oh, okay, so it's a Polish accent, not a. Okay, got it.
It sounds more Boston.
So much more sense now.
It's not the Bronx. It's yeah.
I don't know what it is. It sure as hell isn't Bronx.
Sounds Boston. Chowder. It sounds like chowder.
More Ukrainian.
You know, it sounds Boston. You know.
Isn't that the one with Yul Brynner as Taras Bulba?
I think Yul Brynner is Taras Bulba in that. It's been a while since I've seen it, but yeah.
Taras Bulba is also a huge opera, Ukrainian opera.
Yeah. It's the theme song to On the Edge.
Why was Yul Brynner named after the log you put in the fire at Christmas? Why did that happen?
It's a wonderful piece of music, actually. The Taras Bulba Symphony. I was originally going to use Dance of the Nights by oh damn it, he's a Russian composer. Oh, it's going to drive me nuts. But
Tchaikovsky?
no, not Tchaikovsky. Oh boy, hold on, I can find it. Anyhow, I was going to do yeah, Prokofiev.
Okay.
It was Prokofiev. I was going to use him as the theme song, and then I ran into it. I ran into a Ukrainian, and she was like, "You can't use Prokofiev. You can't. You can't use Prokofiev." And I was like, "Okay, all right. Well, I need something like I need kind of martial music. I need something with lots of drums and kind of like." And she was like, "There you go, the Symphony of Taras. You know, the Taras Symphony concerto or symphony." And I'm so glad she did, because it's been a great theme song for our show.
Cool.
Also, now that we're talking about Taras Bulba, the composer of it, Mykola Lysenko, it's his birthday today. And he lived
Cool.
yeah.
I did not know that. Well, there you go.
I was like, I read this morning something, and then I popped it open again. Yeah, he lived from 1842 and to 1912. And he wrote huge Ukrainian operas as Taras Bulba, Natalka Poltavka, and Enida, which is huge. So yeah, not only did he compose, but he also played a key role in preserving and promoting Ukrainian folk music. As a music educator and conductor, he helped establish the Ukrainian Music School and mentored future generations of Ukrainian composers and musicians. Lysenko's contributions to Ukrainian choral and symphonic music are monumental, as his legacy continues to shape the direction of Ukrainian classical music today. His music is so powerful. I suggest you guys kind of take a look and take a look at these stories as well. These operas,
or look up the composer of Shedrick, which we know is the Carol of the Bells, which is an incredibly moving piece of music, and it's all the more poignant because he never got to see that it become a success because he was killed by the NKVD. The predecessor to the KGB.
Yeah,
he was a Ukrainian composer who took a little village tune called Shedrick, which had nothing to do with what he eventually made it into, which is the Choir of the Bells. And it was this was in the period 1919 to 1921, when there was one of these brief windows of opportunity where Ukraine got its independence from the Russian Empire. And in what they did was they went on a global tour to try and promote Ukraine so that they could maintain their independence. Because like in today's world, Ukrainians knew full well that Moscow was never going to let them be free.
Damn right.
So they conducted a global tour, going to all the European capitals, and then they went to New York and they played Shedrick, and the Americans went so nuts for it that's why they made an English language version of it. Oh, pretty bells, see pretty bells, da 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 dum, dee da da dum.
I had no idea. Yep. No shit.
So he was a promoter of Ukrainian culture, and the Americans went so crazy for it, and they made this English language version. Leontovich, the composer, comes back to Kiev just as Bolshevik forces are marching on the capital, and he's in his apartment building, walking up the stairs. He's in the stairwell, and somebody shot him.
Wow!
Because he was promoting Ukrainian culture. And I tell that story because it's worth remembering that
fucking orcs
this is a centuries-old conflict. This is a centuries-old battle for independence, and every time Moscow has withdrawn because they've had some sort of catastrophic defeat, whether it's the Civil War and the Bolshevik Revolution, or whether it's the Second World War,
Yeah, they still
Kiev has
come back
always-
around to it every time, don't they?
That's right. And Kiev has always tried to take advantage of these moments to seek their own independence. I mean, it's as awful as, Bandera. My personal opinion about Bandera is I'm not a fan. But
He's the father.
Yeah,
Sorry?
we've never heard that before, Phil.
Well, my issue with Bandera is much like my issue with MAGA.
Yeah.
Stepan Bandera had no right to tell Ukrainians who's a good Ukrainian and who's a bad Ukrainian.
Damn right. Yeah.
MAGA has no right to tell Americans who are patriotic Americans and who aren't patriotic Americans. I have a similar issue with both Bandera and MAGA. But regardless, the point is that the Ukrainians have always taken an opportunity when Moscow's on its back foot to try and seek
Rise above
independence and sovereignty and freedom and all the rest of it. And this time it's got to last. I've spoken to so many Ukrainians here who say, this is it. This is the last time we're doing this.
All of us so-called Westerners have to understand this. It's not going to end unless we all collectively freaking end it together.
Yeah.
This has to be it. This has to be the final war of independence.
Yeah.
It has
And
to
we're
be resolved.
so close
finally.
too. We're so close. Like probably the closest we've ever been to once and for all kind of squishing Russia.
Mm-hmm.
So it falls apart.
And this is the same as at the end of World War II. You don't just let your enemy go back and rebuild and do things. There has to be some seriously hammered down, punishing consequences that breaks them to the point where maybe they break up some and we get some different regions again and different states that come out of it and stuff. But really, that's what has to happen now. And unfortunately, we've got Commander McMillan here, we got Andrew Mercado, we got Rudy Acosta, Slavi is in the States as well. America can't drop the ball right now. This is so bad.
Yeah.
So close.
This is a time where Ukraine needs the most support from everybody. It seems like Russia is not that far off from possibly an economic collapse in their country, and they shouldn't be letting up on support because
double down.
We're ninth in goal. We're ninth in goal.
Yes.
And we got 3 downs to go. Let's get her in the end zone.
Yeah, Phil,
Absolutely.
give it the full John Madden because that's exactly it, right?
Yeah. The full John Madden. Yep.
But yeah, drives me crazy. I thought my life was gonna kick into gear and I was gonna have to do something, but I don't now. So we're not in a rush. We can all blither on like idiots for a while if you want. No hurry at the moment. Andrew, you're not just somebody who does Ukraine content, but you're very much somebody who now very much considers themselves News Corps. Your feet on the ground as it pertains to what's going on in America and stuff. Now we could pat ourselves on the back and talk about Democrats rising up and everybody protesting Trump and stuff, but when you're at this kind of thing and when you're feeding into when you're going through your Discord and catching the vibe of the moment and stuff, there's still quite a bit of pushback from the MAGA side as if they still are the winners and they're victorious and they're, it's, you guys are just crybabies and stuff. The mentality must break your mind because these are your fellow Americans and they're cheering on the destruction of everything that America was built on.
Yeah, it affected me more so maybe in like 2020. Like I had a lot, but I went through all that at that time. So I'm more equipped now, especially going to Ukraine and taking air raid sirens and that's more, artillery when we got closer down with Greg Terry. So that was more of a reality check for me than American feelings. So, I keep doing it. I've been doing it for 4 years. That's how I started. I started doing riots in Minneapolis. So
yeah. I mean, you wear the vest for a reason, right? You get right in the thick of shit, man.
Yeah, it was for less than lethals with the police with tear gas and rubber bullets, because they were just like putting it into the crowd, whoever was there. So I already knew what it was. So you just got to protect yourself. Like, if you're gonna be in there, you better know that hey, your safety is your responsibility. Like, it's up to you to make sure that you have safety, especially being independent. You don't have Phil could probably speak on this. I don't know if the news agency provides you with gear or if they give you a stipend okay. So I don't have that.
More than that, they'll give you a security guy who's got he's had training, hazardous environment first aid training. Yeah.
And see, and this is exactly why us YouTubers really need the support of our viewers, because we go it alone, baby. Right? No.
Right. And Phil, I did see an example of that, like NBC, when they'd go into the George Floyd Square in Minneapolis, they literally had a ex-sniper, this dude had tats all over, and he was some operator dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
Some sort of special ops guy.
Yeah. So pretty intense, but me being not that, right? Just got kind of a YouTube channel. You got to invest in things that keep you safe. And for me, well, also too, to keep filming.
Don't tell anybody, but I still have a vest and a helmet that was lent to me by Agency France Presse. Or no, it wasn't Agency France Presse. It was Reporters Sans Frontières.
Oh,
hell yeah.
One of these days I'll return it to him, I promise. But
when you don't need it anymore.
Yeah, I said the same thing about my army gear, Phil. Yeah, totally. I'll give it back for sure. Yeah. But so it's important work. I mean, right now it's not that yet. I mean, I can see it going that way by the end of his presidency, like it did the first time. But at least I'm prepared now. I know the protests have already been going. It's mostly people gathering at capitals, holding signs, just using their voice. It's getting bigger and bigger every time. The next round of protests is on April 4th. So, and I already looked at the chart of how many protests we've had in the US compared to his first term, and we're already exponentially higher for the amounts of people out protesting Trump and Elon Musk.
But surprisingly, very little mainstream news coverage of those protests.
Commander, would you attribute that at all to the court fought war that's going on against mainstream media right now by the Trump administration? Are they scared?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of A, they're scared, and B, the owners of said mainstream media companies are part of that oligarchic class who kind of agree with a fair amount of what he's trying to enact.
Yeah.
Even if they may not agree with his methodology or, some of the language and such that he surrounds himself with, they're definitely on his side with the end result that they may get out of this.
What's the bottom line? They're concerned about their bottom line.
Yeah, as long as the ends justify the means, they're okay with the trajectory, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know if I've told this story on the Shills before, but I'll tell a quick story about this. I had a buddy of mine who's a Vietnam War vet. He was a Marine in Vietnam, and he came back and he became a combat producer for CBS News. And he rose up through the ranks, and he eventually became a producer for the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite. And at some point in the early 80s, I believe he tells the story, the executive producer, the head of the show, who was a guy who was very fastidious about his keeping his time and meeting schedules and deadlines, he was 45 minutes late for an editorial meeting, and everybody was freaking out because they were thinking maybe he got into a car accident or something. And eventually he walked in through the door, and my buddy tells the story of he walked into the newsroom and said, sorry, I'm late. I was up at corporate headquarters. And I've got good news and I've got bad news. Which would you prefer? And since they've been through 45 minutes of anxiety, they said, well, give us the good news. And the executive producer said, for the first time in its history, the CBS News division has turned a profit because of a little show called 60 Minutes, which got the top Nielsen ratings last Sunday night. And everybody clapped and said, "Oh, isn't that wonderful? Oh, that's great, good, good, good." And then they said, "Well, what's the bad news?" And he said, for the first time in its history, CBS News division has turned a profit because of 60 Minutes, and they're going to want it again next week.
Yeah.
It when it became about profit and not about
there was
delivering the news, it all
Phil,
started to go.
there was a great series of shows from CNN, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, right?
Yep.
I've got them on the Plex server, and they very much cover this in that series where the big three networks in America, their newsrooms, it didn't matter profit, nothing. They were an institution unto themselves, and it didn't matter if there was money being sucked into it. The network provided, because it was, it was a moral mission for the people or something, right? And then all of a sudden, the 80s greed era kicked in, and GE bought somebody, and so on and so forth. And that was the start of it all. I actually think you could trace it back to CNN, because as soon as they went on cable and proved that news could be profitable, all hell broke loose, right?
News is
True.
entertainment.
True. We don't need them though. We can do it without them. We have social media. That's why people like me can thrive, because YouTube has a reach, and my Facebook. I had 7 million views on my Riot stream, for example. Like, that's more than probably what a news can pick up.
Well, here's the thing, Andrew. There's a few people out there parroting the fact that the independents can give you the news, but the mainstream news might be dying off a bit. Now, there's definitely a good point to that, because we're living this era. You yourself, I mean, we're a part of it, right? But at the same time, some of these people that parrot that are still using clips from mainstream news channels to deliver their message. If you want to truly live that life, you've got to drag it in yourself. And I love the idea of the independence, because I'm living it too, right? But it like Phil would know, as somebody who's a reporter, you've got to farm the contacts, and you've got to have the network, and it's not going to be everybody who can just become a YouTuber news person. It takes some fucking work, doesn't it?
Yeah, you got to want to do it too. Phil would know more than me, right? But at least in the last 5 years I've done it, you really got to want to do it. Man. Or especially if it's a no shit situation and you're in the middle of it.
Right. You don't put yourself there for nothing. You put yourself there because you feel a civic duty to make sure this is getting out, right?
Now there's a huge podcast that actually beats what's the right wing, the biggest one? Sorry,
Rogan.
Right,
Rogan. Yes, they just might have touched. Yes, they beat Rogan again.
Yeah.
So this is good news that people are watching.
Yeah. There is, I would say, within the socio-political aspect of social media, the right versus left argument, I would say that the left has way more traction and growth right now to the right, and the right are starting to use stifle and shut them down tactics and stuff, which is never a good sign that you're winning the argument, right?
The other thing I find interesting is the right really has very little reply. You get all the guys on late night TV who crack jokes about them, and they really don't have a response, and that really frustrates the hell out of them.
Yes. Good point, Commander. Good point. Very much so.
Hey, my editor just sent me something. I'm sharing it. Do you see it, Dick?
One sec. I'll get it up. Yeah, here we go.
There's my lovely editor giving me my thumbnail for tomorrow's show. We can all thank Sasha, even though he's recently a new father. He's still doing hard work.
Wow, that
quarter past 11 at night. He just sent me this.
if he's a new father and he's doing that at 11:15, everybody applaud the effort because Lord
good old
Thunder and
Sasha.
Jesus, man. Oh yeah.
Did everybody? I don't know if anybody follows me on socials, but I put out a picture of him holding his newborn,
Yes.
and it was like, okay, that's why we're fighting. That kid's gonna grow. That kid's gonna grow up in a free Ukraine. And we're gonna
You
make
shared that
damn
with
sure
us
it
here.
happens.
You shared that with us here. That was awesome, man.
That's
Exactly.
good old Sasha. Yeah, this is going to be a good show tomorrow. Zarina, of course, is fantastic. And she was passing through on her way back down to Kherson, and we got to talk about, what the daily war crimes that are being committed in Kherson with the human safari. But she's from Odessa, so we talk about Odessa. She went to Georgia recently to take part in to report on those protests, and then she's been kind of traveling around as well, talking to Western think tanks and stuff about defending ourselves against Russia's information warfare campaign. So it's a pretty good one.
Cool. Cool. I gotta say, I'm quite the fan of the On the Edge podcast. Not just because Phil and I are friends, but Phil knows how to get things out of people and a good conversation and stuff. And I consider myself a pretty good host of a group of people. So I hope that's taken as big praise because it's meant to be.
Well, I appreciate it, Dick. Thank you. And I hope people watch. I mean, not for my own ego. I'm not. I want to. The purpose of On the Edge is to spread voices, Ukrainian voices, and voices who have particular knowledge and have something unique to say about Ukraine. So that's why we do it. So we're hoping that we can get the algorithms' attention and spread the word.
Very much so.
I've personally been a huge fan of the show, and I've got a chance to be on the show, and it's fantastic. I still send every episode to all my friends. I think it's great content and amplifying voices. So keep doing what you're doing, Phil. It's great.
Yeah. Speaking of having,
we loved having you on the show. I thought you were great.
Well,
I'm proud of that episode.
I'll do better next time.
Speaking of which, I gotta say, let's everybody in the live chat give a big round of applause because Slavi's not just a part of the show now. She's co-host and she's doing the intros and stuff and whatnot. And holy, are we better off for it, right? Everybody, come on.
Yeah, she brings some real grit to the story.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Well,
she definitely puts the you in YouTube. Right. I really, really like it.
You in YouTube. Okay.
Yeah. That's my big thing. You got to put the you in YouTube. You got to be yourself. You got to put it on the line and get it out there. Right. I mean, Andrew, you know that, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
No,
exactly. Not wrong, Dick.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Things are improving and moving on down the tracks, We're a little over time. I don't really know what to do anymore because usually we're done by now, but I got nothing else to do. Let's
briefly talk about trucks.
Good call.
Good call. So, I'm sure Ivan said this before, that trucks can't win the war, right? But the war can't be won without the trucks. So it's such a vital part of it. It's such a necessary part for the soldiers. I mean, they really can't.
Soldiers win wars, but they need the tools to do so.
Yes, indeed. And Ivan compared them to socks one day and said that driving your truck is like putting on a pair of socks. You can't wear your boots without socks because you'll get blisters and you can't move. But you can't move without your truck. You can't get your buddies out if they're injured. You can't get your stuff in to fight the war. You can't get around to the next place you're meant to get to. And they're such a vital part of this war that we've thrown everything. Well, I've thrown everything behind the whole truck thing. And you guys have come along on that journey with Car4Ukraine. And I this model of using lots of influencers, there's 15 influencers in this group, which is quite considerable. We'll really get a lot of notice on social media, I think. But this model will at least double the output of Car4Ukraine, which is fantastic for the soldiers. And I really appreciate every donation that comes in from the communities to make a difference to the fight for the soldiers, based on all these people that support their channel or their influencer. So bravo, the communities.
Well done. And remember, super chats and stuff, everybody appreciates it, but your money gets there faster and they get a bigger percentage with direct donations. So use the Car4Ukraine link as well as ours, because we just, PayPal it to them at the end of the show. And away you go, right? Absolutely. Let's fight on. Slavi, I've got a little video here that you wanted to...
since we were talking about Witkoff, there's a funny meme.
Yeah. Here, let me make sure we can play this properly. Oh.
Putin is operating in good faith. He said that he was going to be operating in good faith to the president yesterday, and I take him at his word.
Are you serious?
In fact, the Russians tell me this morning that 7 of their drones were on their way when President Putin issued his order, and they were shot down by Russian forces.
When it is publicly announced that our troops shot down 7 drones that they themselves launched, well, if the West believed this show, so be it.
Very good. Oh, God.
Oh, man. That was a good call, Slavi.
Anyway, we're living through unprecedented historic times, and poor Ukraine's stuck in the middle of it. And it's really unreasonable and unfair what's happening to them, because really it's America and Russia should be fighting this out.
Yeah. You're not wrong there at all.
I think they're in an interview yesterday, Trump, he replied, they're like, well, it's their fight. Meaning that when he doesn't want to answer the question, he's like, oh, it's not our fight. It's them. So
Yeah.
Them.
It's just I was smart. I knew that we would end up talking about this shit today, and that's why I stocked up on beer before the show. So having said that, I'm going to get one if somebody would like something to say. Now is a great time.
Well, it's morning here. I need
would
a
say. I thought people would say, if someone wants to join me, here's my beer.
I thought that as well.
Here in everyone's. That's what we were expecting.
Yeah.
He's not going to offer us beer.
So how are we going, Ivan? Have we packed up all the cars and delivered them for the Christmas mob?
Yeah. We got all the 15 and the last one with the silicon curtain, Jonathan Fink, that he raised. In fact, we were going to get it to another unit that he was raising for, but those guys were in the hospital. And this is actually, I think, we respect. When the guys are actually not in the direct fight, they just say, we don't really need a car right now. Give it to somebody else.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. Incredible.
When they say, directly, they prioritize it for somebody else. And when we're back, we'll let you know. This is, at some point, of course. But that's a nice thing that when people are they understand the whole picture, and when they actually fight, they understand the pain and the challenges that are out there. So they have no right saying, give me that truck and I'll use it at some point in the future. Yeah. That's why we try to get all of the trucks that we deliver. We don't get them to Kyiv or to Lviv. We get them to the very front line as far as possible. So we know exactly who we're handing it over to, very personally to the soldiers, signing all the papers with them. And actually they come from very personally from, somewhere a village in the United Kingdom, somewhere very, very far. And luckily, we've managed to keep the scope big, but also don't turn to like dealerships or some sort of mid players. We actually buy most of the cars from like farmers or workers on construction workers, like very direct, using a chain of people who are based in the United Kingdom. That was a challenge actually at the beginning of December. We had 2 big fundraisers going pretty well, and Claire was like, "Oh, I have more money for you," and I'm like, "Claire, we can't process it. Like, all your horses, you're doing very well. We couldn't, because you can always go to a dealer and buy a bunch of cars, but you'll just pay a lot more and you'll get a worse outcome." So but now we manage it, and we're ready. Get your money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to donate $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, Ivan's got you covered. We will make it happen, and we'll do it right now. So bring it in. Hear the horns, hear the sirens, and feel the applause.
Also, if there is anyone who is, who wants to, get a truck and come to Ukraine in it, or maybe buy a truck directly, we have more, I would say, individual approaches that we could use. So you don't go through the donor box page or through our fundraising page. You can just send us an email, and we'll give you more specific instructions on how you can make it happen. For example, we have a couple of Dutch guys who are about to come to Ukraine for the 5th time, and they organize their own little fundraiser, like with their friends and lawyers' friends, etc. They get money, and they were buying some cars in the Netherlands. They're not like, Netherlands is the last country where you want to buy pickup trucks. They cycle there. They don't need pickup trucks. And we suggested them, like, guys, you're in Amsterdam. You're like a channel away from United Kingdom. Go there. We'll help you to get some trucks. And they did it already.
Cool.
For actually, if I can show you the. Can I show the screen really quick?
Yeah. Phil's got one we got to show as well here coming up, because I can see it there.
I'll take mine down for a moment, Ivan. You put up yours.
Yeah.
I love the the name of the group, Honey Vodka 4-wheel drive. The last time they came, they were on a 4-wheel drive and diesel. Yeah, that's a nice thing. That's the thing you need for success.
I'm not seeing it. Here we go. Hold on. Here we go. Okay, there we go. Yeah.
So they actually came from the Netherlands to London. This group of people met them. This is Sergey. He's our leader. This is Rustem. He's a friend of Sergey, who's also helping to manage it. And Andriy, another guy, another Ukrainian, and these 2 smiling dudes from the Netherlands. They got 2 nice L200s. And on the way to Cali and Trucksa in Amsterdam. Both are pretty fresh, 2014, 2010. They're doing really well. And
cool.
Yeah, so it's quite an adventure. It's a little bit different. It's not that everyone needs it. This is how much we bought this one for, £5,000 in Britain.
If I can, Ivan, I would like to say the fact that the Shills sponsored truck has the rocket launcher on the back and was 10,000 as a total spend of money. I mean, if Car4Ukraine doesn't deserve applause and pat on the back for the pricing alone, then I don't think anybody's paying attention to what's really going on here, because holy shit, man. Wow.
Yeah, it's a good point, isn't it? Thank you, Dick, for pointing that out. I mean,
it's huge. Everybody's money can go even further. No offense to anybody, and don't you dare try to draw comparisons as I'm saying this, because that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, what a grassroots effort to keep the costs down and really make sure that your dollars go as far as they can, right? I mean, it's great. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's about volume and quality, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's taking the stress off of some of us too, because like, I'm independent, and raising $60,000-$70,000 fundraisers can be tough sometimes by yourself.
Damn straight, brother. You know, I mean, even at your sub count and whatnot, we're talking big asks here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So this is way more doable, and it also is more community engaging because we have other creators to work with.
Yeah, it's really
fun, or lighter weight on the lighter burden on each of you. And I think that the sense of the community that's come from this has been extraordinary. I feel as though we're all in it together.
That's a big part of it. I mean, on the Shills here, that's exactly our goal from day one, is the whole building community thing. And again, to turn to Andrew farms his Discord as a community to a point very few people, like most, could learn from Andrew, right? So he understands this big time, and that's why he's knee deep in the middle of it, right?
And Dick, do you want to show the newest member of the Shills?
Yes. Here we go. And
there he
is.
There he is.
Oh,
that's why we do this. That right there, that's enough, right?
That is everything in a nutshell, wrapped up into
Everything
one
right there.
beautiful little package, man.
Yep. So there you go. That's if that's not a good enough reason to contribute, then I don't know what is.
Yeah. If you needed a reason to fight tyranny, you're looking at them right now.
Yeah.
As much as it's hard to juggle all of this stuff and bring those pictures up super quick like that, Andrew, you're feeling my pain here, right? It's great to be able to share this stuff with everybody. No. My system is built so I can do that on the fly, but I've got 3 massive screens in front of me, and it's not even enough room.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. I love it, man. I love it. Let's see here. Rudy, you're, growing in the Ukraine community as a creator and as an educator and a news bringer, but now as a fundraiser as well. How do you think some of your more right-wing leaning neighbors in the place you live would feel about that if they really knew what you were up to?
Oh God,
that's an interesting predicament to be put in, isn't it?
There was just this past week, there was a news article out on me and my channel. I'm in a city where it's pretty small city, and they're about 100,000. And I went, and I probably shouldn't have, because this type of stuff kind of frustrates me. But there was a bunch of Trump supporters in the comments of the article, just talking a bunch of shit, basically, telling me I should go to Ukraine, and just a bunch of ridiculous things. So, I really did. I just kind of let it roll off my shoulders, because I know I'm doing something that's right. Ukraine is in the right; they deserve our help. And I would bet these people don't even know what the hell they're talking about. They don't even know any information. They're just doing whatever Trump is spewing out, and he doesn't even know his information. So I already get a lot of shit from trolls all the time.
I bet, man. I bet. But when somebody if somebody catches wind that you're not exactly in line with their thing and whatnot, I have a feeling, knowing you the way I do, that you don't really have a problem dealing with that, do you?
No, not at all.
Yeah, man. I didn't I didn't get time to address it, but Commander McMillan had to say goodnight. He has just become the bionic man, and as such, he needs a little bit of a break. So let me just arrange the screen in the background here a little bit better.
Before you do that, Dick, I'm going to be jumping off before too long myself because
Same here, Dick.
we're headed off to midnight here in Kiev, and I'm running on fumes.
Yeah, and I sorry.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
I myself don't want to let the stream go too long because sometimes the longer they are, the more lost you get lost in the algorithm. And sometimes for a show like this, it's better not to go too long as well.
Yeah, and I guess on that note, I'm going to say goodnight, everybody. It's always a pleasure spending time with you lovely people, and I hope we did some good. And that those viewers and listeners and what have you, maybe learned a thing or two, or maybe look at things a little bit differently, or got reinvigorated by seeing Sasha's kid, and what have you. But we're going to keep doing what we're doing here. Like I said, we got Zarina on the show tomorrow, so hope you all will tune into that. We're getting very low numbers on our last week's episode for some reason with Dr. Erwin Redliner. Slava, you brought up the issue of supporting Ukrainian children. Well, that's what Dr. Redliner does.
Yeah.
So if you guys are so inclined after the Shills show, hop on over to my YouTube channel, Philip Ittner, or On the Edge. And I liked the interview with Dr. Redliner. I thought it was really poignant to talk about the most vulnerable here in Ukraine, and that's the children.
The children.
We'll get that.
If we can boost those numbers, that'd be great. But
Phil,
if you're not inclined, watch tomorrow's show.
Phil, send me the link to the show direct, and I'll put a redirect for the end of this broadcast.
I will do that right now before I go to bed.
All right, Slavi, why don't we go?
You want me to do it here? I'm going to do it here.
Yeah, do it right now. Do it right now. I'll put it in at the end. Slavi, why don't we go around the rest of the table and say our farewells and do our shilling and stuff? Want to take us through?
Sure. Let's go around. And Claire, why don't you go first and say your final thoughts?
Yeah, my final thoughts. My final thoughts is I love working with this community feel. I think it's very warm and welcoming, and it really bonds us all. And the common goal of buying trucks is so valuable to the soldiers. And, they're really struggling, and it's a difficult time and they don't feel globally supported. So let them feel supported by us. It's astounding when you consider how crowdfunded this war is. I can't remember any war that had such a difference from crowdfunding as this one does. That's such a big war anyway. Maybe little wars do, but with their local communities, but this one's like a global fundraising is making a really huge difference to it. So the generosity of people is making a difference. I congratulate it. And I hope we all get there one day. I feel as though we're in it for the long haul now. But, in the first year, I was really convinced that Ukraine could just kick the Russians out. But I guess it's not that simple.
If only.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks
so my final thoughts is keep giving for the cause. Let's look after the soldiers as best we can.
Absolutely. Andrew Mercado, why don't you tell us your final thoughts?
Thank you, Slavi. Thank you again for having me, Dick, on the show. It was always a pleasure to be here and hang out in a more relaxed format. I'm going to be on my gaming channel later, Armory Forager. It takes place in the Cold War, and we get to fight Russians. And I'm going to be promoting the Cars for Ukraine fundraiser during that.
Oh.
Yeah. So we're going to be doing that on my gaming channel. So feel free to come hang out if you would like to. If not, Mercado Media on YouTube will be back live again on Monday.
Awesome.
Thanks so much. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Rudy, please go ahead with your final thoughts.
This was a great show, a great panel. I'll be putting out some content this week. I was at, like I said, they were having some protests down the road from my house. So yeah, I was going to be putting something together, but yeah, I'll be promoting also the Card for Ukraine this week, and hopefully, get some donations in. So yeah, it was great.
Amazing. Yeah, all of you guys are so amazing in everything that you do for Ukraine. Ivan, please go ahead with your final thoughts.
Thank you, Slavi. Yeah, I would like to quote one of our supporters, Andres, not from Weekly Ukrainian channel, but from Germany, who has committed to contribute one pickup truck every month of the war, and so far he has done 38 pickup trucks. And we asked him, like, why you are so tied to it, why are you contributing to it, just paying so much yourself? And he said, I believe that the only real power that keeps Russian from Europe is the soldiers of Ukraine. And these are the people I invest my money in. He's an investor. He invests in pickup trucks for the soldiers of Ukraine.
Yeah.
And when I personally bring those cars to the front line, I love it. I don't do it much, but when I do it, I love it always. When I hand over that truck, when I see those guys, whose eyes sometimes are, like they're on fire, they want to fight. Sometimes they're just exhausted. Nevertheless, they do it. They take that truck, they take those drones, and they fly into freaking Russians, just like those Japs did earlier. But that's another story. So these are the people who are out there, and yeah, I'm glad we have such a great community to to accelerate that and make sure each Russian gets a drone into its face with the help of socks and the bigger trucks.
That sounds lovely. Amazing. I love it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Simon.
Please, Phil, go ahead with your final thoughts.
Well, I've already plugged the show, but again, if you guys are so inclined, watch last week's show, but also, put the notifications on for tomorrow's show. We're proud of everything that we put out, and we're going to keep doing it. If not least of which because of our newest edition. But it's real important that we keep doing this kind of stuff because, yes, the fundraising, obviously, without a doubt, let's raise money, let's do something tangible. But there's something a little bit more esoteric, and that's the information warfare that's out there. And so by those of us gathering together to discuss the truth of what's happening here and to push back against Moscow's just, well-funded and, insidious information warfare that is apparently made it all the way into the Oval Office. We need to be out here discussing Ukraine, keeping Ukraine in people's minds, and trying to debunk as best we can the bullshit that comes out of the Kremlin. So both of those things, I think, are incredibly important and are well served by this community. So let's keep it up.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. And my final thoughts for today, it's, sorry, my computer just went crazy. Ukraine isn't just fighting for its survival. It's holding the line for every democracy under threat. When we support Ukraine, we're not funding a foreign war. We're investing in our future where freedom still wins. And if we fail them now, we fail our future as well, the one that America no longer defends what it claims to stand for. So on that note, I hope that resonates with everyone that's watching. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to the panel. And Slava Ukraini.
Heroim Slava.
You know
See
what?
you guys.
I think that's when I can hit the button. So good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And doesn't Slavi do this really well? It's awesome, right?
She does. She's
Hi.
okay. All right.
Slava Ukraine!
Next time.
It's over. Go home. Go.